Hello and welcome to the first Moore Barlow Employment Law podcast. My name is Michelle Tudor and today I'm going to be discussing some of the practicalities and legal issues that may arise as you bring your workforce back to work. So I should start by saying that the government's message is still that people should continue to work from home where possible. However, not everyone can work effectively from home for a number of reasons, and now is the time to start planning their return to the workplace. As I said, there are a number of practicalities and legal issues that employers need to think about before staff can return to the workplace. The first consideration, in my opinion, should be health and safety. Under the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974, all employers have a legal duty to ensure, as far as reasonably practicable, the health, safety and welfare of their employees. This duty applies all of the time, of course, but COVID-19 poses a particular risk, and so a focused risk assessment needs to be carried out. You should do that now and put it in writing. That risk assessment needs to be kept under review and be adapted as necessary. So let's take a moment to look at what you should be covering in your risk assessment. Now, of course, each risk assessment will be individual to your workplace, but there are 5 overarching areas that should be covered. First, you should identify the work activities or situations that might cause transmission of the virus. This means looking at your workspace. For example, are you open plan or do employees have their own office space? What sort of shared equipment do you provide? Things like printers, photocopiers, filing cupboards. What shared facilities do you offer? Areas like bathrooms, kitchens, dining or breakout areas. Secondly, you must identify anyone who might be at risk. This means not only your employees, but your contractors and any visitors to your workplace as well, clients and customers, couriers and delivery people, cleaners. You also need to be identifying those who are higher risk, those with existing medical conditions, for example, those who have been shielding under the government guidance. Thirdly, you must consider how likely it is that someone could be exposed to the virus. You should think about controlling the number of people you have in your workplace at any one time. Once you've identified those activities or situations that could spread the virus, you then need to look at ways to remove those activities or situations. This could, for example, mean removing certain tasks from an employee's job description on a short-term basis. Where activities and situations can't be removed, you then need to look at ways of controlling the risk. This could mean things like a temporary change to an employee's job role or duties, adopting flexible working, for example allowing different start and end times, staggering rest breaks and lunch breaks, limiting the number of people who can use the kitchen or breakout areas at any one time, rearranging your office space and perhaps operating one-way systems around your office to maintain social distancing, ensuring that you provide enough hygiene facilities, hand wash and sanitizer of course, not just in the bathrooms, but around your office as well, and especially around shared equipment that will be touched by a lot of people. You should also look at how you keep the office clean. Speak to your cleaning company if you use one. There will be a higher standard of cleaning required for your workplace. One issue you should think about is how your employees get to work. Although the commute to work is usually regarded as an employee's responsibility, it can fall within your responsibility if you are requiring an employee to come to work when it is unsafe to do so. This is going to be irrelevant to any of your employees who travel to work by public transport, whether by bus or train or tube. Think about whether there is anything you can do to help your employees to minimise any risk of exposure. For example, a bike to work scheme, car sharing or making sure that staff have masks. Once you've completed your risk assessment, you should share the results of it with your employees. They need to know that you've considered the risks and have put in place measures to protect their health and safety. We then move on to some of the practicalities of bringing your employees back to work. It may be that they have been working from home over the last few months, or may have been furloughed under the job retention scheme. In either case, you should start talking to your employees in good time before you want them to return to the workplace. Communication is going to be important. There may be a number of reasons why returning to work might be difficult. Staff might have concerns about health and safety. They might have a medical condition that places them at higher risk. They may have children or relatives at home that need care. The reality is that until the schools are back to normal, and until after-school clubs and holiday clubs can run and parents can rely on other family members to help, those with childcare responsibilities will still be impacted more than others. It would be sensible, in my view, to invite staff to talk to you about any concerns they have, and anything that might stop them from returning to work in the near future. You may need to be flexible in their hours of work, or perhaps utilise the flexible furlough scheme for the time being. Bear in mind that you cannot dismiss or subject to a detriment any employee who raises a health and safety concern where they have a reasonable belief in a serious or imminent danger. Similarly, you can't dismiss or subject to a detriment any employee who has to take time off work for a dependent, nor can you discriminate against any employee on the grounds of sex, disability or age, amongst others. You therefore need to be careful not to jump to an allegation of insubordination or failure to follow a reasonable instruction if an employee refuses to return to work. Such action may be warranted, depending on the circumstances, but not without full investigation into the reasons why an employee is reluctant to return to work. So that concludes this podcast. I hope you found it useful. Please feel free to give any one of the team a call to discuss any of the points I've discussed today. And if you have any topics that you would like to hear us talk about, do let us know. Take care. Goodbye.